In this video, I'm going to show you how to use an if statement in Excel. So in the last video, we inputted the grades for our students and calculated a final numeric grade. And now I want to determine what the letter grade would be for each of those. So I'm going to come here to cell K3 and add an if statement. So I'll come up here to my formula line and put plus if, and then open parentheses. And you can see here it tells us what to do. Essentially, we want to put a logical test, then a comma, then what happens if that logical test is true, another comma, what happens if that logical test is false. So my logical test I'm going to put in is if J3, so essentially my final grade, if that is greater than 90, then I want to input an A into my box K3, my cell K3. If not, I want to input the letter B, and then I'll close my parentheses. So again, this if statement, we have a logical statement first. That's the test, so to speak, then a comma, and then what happens if the test is true, and then another comma, and what happens if the test is false. So I'm going to hit enter, and we can see that we get an A for this grade. And I can do the same thing where I just copy and paste as we did for the formulas, and we have everybody getting an A or a B. But really, we don't want everybody to have their A or B. We want to test and if anybody has a C or a D as well. So I'm going to come back to this cell, and instead of putting a B in here, I'm going to say, okay, if the J3 is greater than 90, I'm going to get an A. If it's not, I'm going to have another if statement that's going to say, well, if J3 is greater than 80, then I'll put in a B. And if not, for now, let's just put 0. So we'll put a number in there. And then we'll close this again. So essentially, if the J3 is greater than 90, I put an A. If it's not, then it's going to test, well, is J3 greater than 80? It'll put a B. If not, it's a 0. If J3 is greater than 90 and it puts an A, it never reads the rest of the statement. So it never reads this part of the statement. If J3 is greater than 90, it never reads this. So it's not going to overwrite my J3 with a B because it's coming to this. So let's see what happens now. If I put that in and I control copy and paste it, and so now we have some B's, but we still have some people that do not have grades. So I'll come back up here and say, okay, well, instead of putting a 0 in here, I'm going to put another if statement. So if J3 is greater than 70, then I will put a C in for the grade, and if not, I will give the person a D. And so, again, it's going to do this first if statement. If that's true, it puts an A. If it's not true, then it will read the next if statement. And if J3 is greater than 80, then it's going to put a B, and it will not read anything else. If it's not greater than 80, it will read the next if statement, and it will say, okay, well, if it's greater than 70, yes, it'll put a C. If not, it will put a D. So let's see if that one works. We will control copy and control paste, and now everybody has their letter grade that is appropriate. If we look down here in this, let's say we look in this cell here, you can see that it's testing J9, obviously not J3 because we copied it down and it goes with that row. And now we can see what happens. Let's say if I change my test grade right now, how many we have? 1, 2 C's, 1 D, and 1, 2, 3, 4 B's. So if we change our test grade to count 30% and our project to count 30%, now we just have the 1 C. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B's, and we still have the 1 D. So, you could play around to see how this might affect the final grades as far as the letter grades and everything, the letter grades update as well as the final grades, obviously.